Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I want to welcome you to your favorite show by saying Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas!
You're a bit late to the party. Yeah, we have a bit of meat there for you. Now, tonight we are going to be talking about Christmas and about money. Are you experiencing issues where money and Christmas is concerned? Stay with us as we have the first ever men's campfire. So, guys, Merry Christmas. Cheers to all those who are not eating meat. Yes. Now, I'll start with you, Isaac.
Yes.
Christmas, we always act like it is a surprise. We are never ready for it. We're always trying to look for money, taking loans and all that stuff. How do we stop that?
It's hard. It's a culture. It's one of those things.
Yeah.
365 days that you wait,
Yeah.
but you're never ready. It's like having your second born.
Yeah.
First born you're ready, but the second born you'll never be ready.
It doesn't matter how.
Exactly.
It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
All right. Great stuff, Faisal. Holidays are coming. Doesn't matter whether you're Muslim or a Christian, but everybody's borrowing money. Everybody's panicking. Why?
Because they have to keep up with the parents.
Yeah. Like the way some people are serving meat,
You can.
and they usually don't do
You
it,
can.
right?
That's what I'm saying. Huh?
Christmas comes too early.
Especially when there's a beautiful lady on the
cannot,
set. All right.
you cannot watch, you cannot anticipate for a holiday the entire year. Telling people, hey, Christmas I will do this, Christmas I will do this, January, February. By the time December reaches, people are waiting. They're like, hey, yeah, Tugamba, he's going to take us during Christmas. This is where all the promises come back.
Yeah.
Even all those promises you made during, those days in bed. Because of the condition, you promise her, like, I'll give you a car this Christmas. Now it is time.
Yes.
Exactly. Pay the piper. Because it's the end of the year. First of all, everyone wants to end it big. No one ever wants to end the year on a bad note.
With a bang.
Let it be banks, law firms, politicians. No one ever wants to end the year on a low note. So this is why everyone tries to do as much as possible.
Yeah.
Impress.
Yes. This is why Christmas and Easter, I mean, they're both public holidays, but they're different because the other one is where the big guns come out. It even has an entire day dedicated to opening presents. So, of course.
Oh, okay, great stuff. The one and only Stefan. Are you ever ready for Christmas?
You have to be ready for Christmas, and if you're not ready for Christmas, don't spend what you don't have. You have to be ready. If you want your Christmas to, for example, if you want to travel during Christmas time, save that money from January. If you do not have that
sounds
money,
very textbook.
no, listen. It's not textbook.
Rose, you're welcome to our Christmas feast.
You know, people like Rose, they just get in the picture and they were not planned for. Listen, same thing with Christmas.
Why are you so cold?
We planned for that meet, and Rose is just getting in. And that is what I'm talking about Christmas. You never plan for something and then you meet some slay queen, some beautiful chick who tells you that, you know what? During Christmas, I want you to take me to Nyali Beach or Mombasa. And because, you want to impress her, you go into your savings, things you didn't plan for. And you end up spending what you don't have. So you need to plan. This whole thing that he said that that you're not African. We need to get that mindset out of our heads.
But isn't that textbook? Sounds very textbook.
No, I know, man.
You need to plan. Listen, I'll be very honest. I'm
How
honest.
much do you have on your savings?
I plan for Christmas.
Because
I plan for Christmas.
what have you planned?
I am taking my woman. Listen, by the way, the slay queens. I'm saying this on national.
But they're calling you right now. Can't you hear your phone?
That's not my phone.
Okay.
I'm taking my woman. I'm taking her somewhere with my kid. I plan for this. You have to plan. If you do not plan, don't spend what you do not have.
Christmas, as we've seen, it's a bit of a tight one. A lot of people do not plan for Christmas. Why, in your opinion?
Well, people are used to, it depends on especially how someone, and some people get money on a monthly, so you realize that by the time they come to Christmas, they are still depending on their monthly earnings. You have not put you've not stashed away some cash, you've not been saving, and for some reason, Christmas is here.
For some reason, it's going to come either way.
Yes, on the 25th December is here,
Yes.
and Christmas is here. And being an African man or an African lady, now you're going back to your roots, you're going back to whichever village you've been born from, and there are people there who are expecting you to come with, I don't know how many kilos of meat, fish, everything. Like in my place, you have to go with fish because we are from Busia, and fish is the thing there. So you have to go with a lot of fish.
Or
so
you've
you
not.
know, like you've not planned for this, you don't have the finances for this, you've not been saving up for it, and you know, you realize you're in a mess, you're in a fix. So someone is going to go and get a loan, and you know, they keep on accumulating debts and all that, but it's probably because they don't plan so well for it in advance. Like Stefan said, start in Jan, save something every month. Know that this is dedicated to Christmas. Put aside maybe 50 bob starting from Jan, and by the time
you have
December comes about, you're good to go. I saw a pic on Twitter of a South African. He used to save coins. By the time December was coming through, he had a whole bucket and tin of coins, and he was like, come Christmas, I am ready for you. So maybe people don't do that here.
Well, cobalt. Cobalt. There are all Qs and the bolts involved. But now, question for you. I mean, clearly, we have a problem where Christmas is concerned. Is there anything wrong with not doing anything over Christmas?
Yes, there's something very wrong.
What's wrong with that? If you don't have the money, you don't have the money.
No. The problem is the mind.
Yeah.
We lack creativity. You see, everything is about money. Not everything is about, it's about how creative you are in your mind. If you want to have Christmas and you go to your home and say, slaughter that cow, how much money have you spent?
You have to have the cow before you can.
Yes, no, of course. I'm talking to people who have no cows this side. I'm talking to people who have cows this side. So I'm very, very sorry. I'm sorry for offending you. No wonder you're having so much beef, and it's like the first thing. But it's not. That's not my point. That's not my point. That's not my point. My point is, be very creative, especially with your family, because that's your first priority. Especially with your family. One thing you must know as a man, you have a mother. And for you gentlemen who are married, you have a mother-in-law, father-in-law, and your father.
Africa.
And that community setting is what limits us. But now we are in an age of technology, we're in an age where you can travel, we're in an age where you can just call home, hey, I find when you've cut all the rabbit meat, I find when you've cut the chicken, you're not really, you're spending airtime. You're being creative, or you can say, oh, let's have a campfire. You're just cutting wood, and you're spending a little on local brew, and you're having small drinks. You see, that's the problem, is we are not creative. You have to do something. This is a festive season. Otherwise, they would have called it, it would be like, even if you do something on your birthday, that happens every year. How about on Jesus' birthday? How about on the biggest day I'm a Christian, I'm a Catholic, and that's the biggest day, one of the biggest days. Easter and Christmas are one of the biggest days to us.
Okay, I hear you. But now here's the situation. You've talked about having Christmas, being creative. I like that. Question is, I'm there in the village, all right, I'm having my small campfire. Uncle so-and-so comes in. Auntie so-and-so checks in. Before you know it,
the neighbor checks in.
Let me now tell you what my family does.
And you lose the relative.
Of course, that always happens. Christmas is a day of happiness. Losing so many relatives there on Christmas. I don't know if they plan it, but anyways, let's move on. That's what we do. When you slaughter a cow,
okay, let's hear the man.
When you slaughter a cow and you're on a campfire, or you have decided to have a festive that feast, when they come, you have to have something to give them. You plan, especially the ladies are very good at that. They keep some food. Not all the food, but they keep some for the guests that come.
Where's the creativity in that?
No. That's one way. That's one way. So you have to have mechanisms, ways. Okay, very, very tactical. You have to be very tactical. Listen. One. You have to have a lot. You have to have enough local brew. Why? Because when the mine is gone, chances are you're going to have the entire evening with their minds gone, and by the time they come to sanity, you're out of the sea, you're out of the village. One, that's a very creative way. That's what we do in the village. You have enough local brew for the
But we're
old
not
people.
in the village.
No, he has asked the question when you're in the village. That's the question I'm answering, right? All right, that's one way. Or you can have plenty of food. People, it's like a wedding. When you don't have food and alcohol, your wedding is trash. You may have 1,000 gifts, but
Peter, can I
you see,
interject?
wait,
Let him finish.
it's the question he asked me. All right. So look, you see, you will not be able to get enough gifts for everyone. You will not be able to solve everyone's financial need. So what you do, you have to devise ways around food and around drink. If you have those two mastered, I'm telling you, your entire village. Listen, you're not being creative for them. You're being creative for your family. You're trying to accommodate with your one. Listen, you're trying to accommodate. You're accommodating. You're doing your best for your family with the finances you have, but also your community. You're putting them into consideration because one, if you do not think, if you, all right, you can listen.
That is
Piper, listen, Isaac, listen. Isaac, I was talking to you too as well. So listen, so you need, if you do not think about the community, you're going to want to spend what you do not have.
Peter,
and that is what.
So, okay, all right. That man has talked about cutting.
Okay, we're going to. Banji,
You won't let this go.
Christmas. It's okay. It's okay. Yes. But moving on.
Yeah.
Banji, Christmas. We always end up in a situation where January is painful. Okay. Is there anything wrong with having Christmas with nothing?
Okay, now, I think I will share my experience, childhood experience.
Yeah.
Before I became a family man. My dad and my dear mom, they made Christmas the most anticipated day at home of the year.
So there was no
Now,
plan.
I said my dad and my mom. Now, for us when we grew up, the day when we were young in the village, the day you would put on a brand new cloth would be Christmas. The day they would serve meat without restrictions would be Christmas. Okay? So, and if Faiz was sorry for this, but Muse would buy a pig leg in May, June. And we know this is for Christmas. We all put our hands to make sure that that pig is fat enough.
And you punish
Then she would buy, there would be a goat also for Christmas. Then there would be, like in the village, where people contribute either coffee or bananas in shares in a cow or a bull. And you are sure of another 15 kilograms. So Christmas, home would look like, you know,
a feast.
And
Unlike
you see,
your homes,
the way we do this Christmas is that there is no invitation. It's an open invitation. Any neighbor who walks in will enjoy. So yes, Christmas we need to plan. That used to be planning of that kind. However, for us, whose income is from the wallets, and majority of the Ugandans we earn hand to mouth. You earn it today, you spend it. You earn it today, you spend it. We have entered a cycle where, because, and these guys who employ us are very smart, they pay salary for December around 18th, 19th. So 20th, 21st, by 25th, it is finished.
Dry.
Now January is very dry. And remember, in late January, kids are going back to school. So you have to pay their tuition. And we are some people out there, their children are in schools of millions of shillings. So it is too much work. However, I don't think that people don't plan for Christmas, especially those who earn from their pockets. They plan, they think about it. Someone can save in January, February, but in March they have a problem. They spend the money and they continue up to December when they don't have. So, me, I say, you know, for me, I live in a life of here and now. This is Christmas. I am a Christian. I will spend the money I have in the wallet. January will take it.
Do we have to have something at Christmas? Can we just have nothing? Now we are here at the Uganda Wildlife Education Center celebrating Christmas. And we've got a drink. We used to have meat. We had it at the beginning of the show. Now there's none. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break. Welcome back from the break. If you just joined us, we are in the second session talking about Christmas. We are part of the very first men.
Thank you.
Men, thank you.
No, I want them to feel that.
To feel the heat. We are part of the very first men campfire here at Uganda Wildlife Education Center, and we are talking about Christmas, especially where your pocket is concerned. Now, Maureen.
You're looking.
Yeah, we've got a lot of snow coming.
It's like Santa. Christmas.
Yeah. Which we appreciated. This is what Christmas is all about.
This is something you're used to, you know.
Yeah, sure.
That's
Well,
So, the question is, there's a lot of pressure in terms when Christmas comes. People want presents, people want to travel, people want to eat. And all these things cost a lot of money. Is there anything wrong with having nothing? Just chilling.
Well, first of all, Christmas today has been too commercialized that it is ridiculous for you to say you don't have anything in the kitty to spend when the season does come. But I want to believe that back in the days, it was totally a religious public holiday where the celebrations were all about celebrating the birth of Jesus, commemorating the life of Jesus, understanding the purpose for which the foundation of Christianity exists in Africa. But it has transitioned from the whole religious aspect to living large, to exchanging gifts, to coming out with a bang. You know, I have been working 12 months of the year, and on this particular day, I have to show the whole world that, come on, I can afford the latest model of whichever car I want. I can take my family on a holiday like Stefan is bragging to have planned for his family. You know.
That the unplanned pregnancy.
Come on!
It's okay. We're going to get to you. Let them finish.
You know, it's very hard to be the only lady on the show called NTV Men. One of these days, I will call myself a man too, but unfortunately.
It's all right. Stand one. So you were telling us.
Yeah. So, of course, people will raise their eyebrows and point fingers at you and gossip and call you all kinds of names, stingy, if the day comes and you don't have anything to share. It is the one day that even the most selfish human being has to come out and be charitable and show some love and visit the sick, lend a helping hand here and there. It doesn't necessarily have to be extravagant.
Peter,
It can be small, it can be big.
Yeah.
You just have to find where you fit in and live with it.
Okay,
That's
great
what
stuff.
I would say.
Great stuff. Yes, and I'll tell you why. I think we have the whole message of Christmas warped. It's not necessarily about how much can I spend. Okay. Are you making an impact on somebody else's life other than the usual people you make an impact on? But that's just my thought. Yeah. What are you?
You know, while we were growing up, I remember that Christmas was a time, especially for us, you know, we were kids. Christmas was the time where you wanted to show off your new clothes, you know, your new shoes. It is something that I remember as a kid. Now, as a parent, as a guy who's spending, Christmas is different for me. And that's why I insist that you need to what? You need to plan. This communal nonsense that you know, during Christmas, which happens in that region, where people come, you know, from nowhere, and you know, they come to your place, you have not planned for this, and they come and eat and whatnot, is nonsense, and we need to get out of this. Listen, let me tell you what. I come from a background where my parents, if my parents planned for supper, this is what you're eating, this is what we're eating tonight, and you came as a cousin tonight without planning, they'll tell you, go where? They'll give you the remainder. We plan. Africans, we need to change that stupid mindset. You can accommodate everyone.
It's not a stupid mindset.
It is our culture.
It's a culture.
It is our culture.
You cannot spend what you do not have.
It is our culture.
It's just a food for thought about
To
this question
accommodate
of,
our own.
is it fine to have nothing
Regardless.
on Christmas.
It is.
I mean, let's first go back a little bit in history, SST. Before the coming of the missionaries, before Christianity was introduced onto this continent, what used to happen around that time? What used to happen? So I think it's very possible that you could actually have a Christmas without nothing. I mean, look at our Muslim brothers and sisters.
I mean,
Okay,
Peter.
This guy is fasting the whole day, and during the night, they chew everything.
Guys, you're going off topic. You're going off topic. But what I'm saying, what he's trying to say
These guys are
is,
special.
you're not going to die if you don't do anything.
Yes,
on Christmas.
I'm out.
Yes,
Yes,
you're not going to die. You're going to be alive. Last Christmas, I literally did nothing. I slept
You were broke.
almost nothing. No, I wasn't.
First of all, you're Muslim. Secondly, you're broke.
Enjoy it.
Yes, but he has a reason not to
But
celebrate
Whether I'm
Christmas.
broke or
We're
not,
talking about Christmas.
whether I'm broke or not, I did not die, and I'm here for another Christmas.
So we
that I'm
don't
still
blame
going
you.
to
We
do
don't
nothing.
blame you. You didn't do it.
Because it is not your day to celebrate. You don't prioritize
Isaac.
it. We do.
From my childhood experience,
Come on.
Christmas is about making those lasting moments for your kids, for your family, for your community.
Housework.
And how do we do this?
Not housework.
Yes, I will borrow the idea of saving because in the good days, people would save to buy maybe a bull, a cow, and it's slaughtered on the 24th. Everybody is busy. If you have
Christmas
kids that
has
work
lost meaning.
in urban areas, you actually waiting for your kids to come back.
You see them for the first time.
Yes, exactly. And even if I don't make enough money, I will make at least I will make a saving to go back home on Christmas. And that's when that bull that the community, the association has been saving for is slaughtered. Okay,
That.
but then aside, I mean, even if I'm poor, at least I can afford to buy a new dress for my daughter. And so that we go for prayers at that time when she's clad in this new cloth. But these things have actually eroded. As Maureen did say, it's been commercialized. That we no longer understand.
But Christmas
that we
has
need
always
to
been
make
commercialized.
more it's been commercialized, but it's gone out. It's overboard. It's out. We have no control anymore. Yeah.
See, but no, let me say
Even the
something.
people that are
Peter,
pickpocketing.
Peter, are you going to blame? Are you going to blame someone who can afford? Well, listen,
For throwing a feast.
I'm just asking. Listen, if someone can afford to throw a feast, are you
Bang.
going to blame him?
That's not what we're talking about.
No, I'm just
He's off topic.
Yeah,
But he's off topic. Why is he finishing if he's off topic?
To the man. Okay, just
We are talking.
Are you going to blame someone who can afford to throw a feast that is derailing Christmas for others, yet he can afford? Now, for someone who can't afford, if they come to his house and he can feast, they can all feast. Is that a problem?
Can I answer your question?
Yes, answer.
And I want to dive into.
Yes, and
but
we'll come to you straight after.
Yes,
that.
please.
Absolutely nothing wrong with that. I always say if you can afford it, please,
Do it.
by all means, go ahead.
Then why were you talking?
Just wait. However, the reality is, even if you can afford it, how many of us here have gone to the children's cancer ward at Mulago?
That's the point.
I have been there, and I have seen, that while there's nothing wrong, I say when you work hard, celebrate, But the reality is the most fulfilling thing you can do is touch somebody else.
Exactly.
And what that person needs is nothing mega. They all sometimes, they don't even need you to give them anything. They only need your time. I have been to that ward, I have seen those children, all they want you to do is to read a story to them.
Fantastic. I have 365 days for the entire world. I am spending one day.
But how many people do
that is me.
your
Listen,
family.
I'm talking about, that's my opinion. My opinion, I have 364 or 65 days for everyone else. I can choose any of those days to go to the cancer institute, to go to any remand home, to go to all those homes. I can choose. I am choosing one
But
day.
you do know it.
Listen, I'm choosing one day. Listen, all my siblings are all either abroad or they are so far away.
Okay,
Listen,
all right.
all our siblings. My family, my parents stay so far away. We choose one day we choose to come together. And then you tell me I got the Cancer Institute. Come on. That is, I do not agree with you. I don't agree with you. I do not. If I can afford to pray feast, that is your Christmas. That is I am sharing. I am sharing with my community. I am sharing with my community, with my family.
Talking about Christmas, and it's meant to be happy. Can we be happy? We'll be right back after the break.
Let me say.
Welcome back from the break. Now that everybody has calmed down and Christmas is in the building, we are back into the discussion about Christmas. Banji.
Yes.
Sharing. We've heard what our dear friend Albert has said. What about sharing where Christmas is concerned? Is it about just about me?
And I think this is where, if you reflect on my first conversation which I had, was that Christmas, for me, for instance, let me use my family. When we go home for Christmas, we all assemble at Muse's place. And we are a population of 42 people.
Wow.
That is a tourist hotel room. 42 people.
Yeah.
Now, when the 42 of us appear, the old woman will tell you, this is what you will consume for the entire week you will be here. So people dig in their pocket. You bring what you have brought for the family to share. Then of course you have some little money for the auntie, for the uncle, for the what. So Christmas is about sharing. Now, the challenge is, if Chris was here, he would be arguing that Christmas is more of a worship thing. I know that would be the language of Chris.
He's Chris and
It's about
right.
worship. Now, we because religion is practiced differently depending on the society, sometimes the issue of feasting has overtaken worshiping. Okay? So we put more attention on eating, on drinking, on driving. If you ask URA, they will tell you that in the month of December, they sell more cars than any other month. The guys of fuel sell more fuel. The guys of who sell meat sell in doubles, because we have put more attention to feasting. But also, it is also the time when we also share with others. So I think the spirit should be sharing. However, to go back to your original question, do you share what you don't have? Because this is the most important question. And for me, my say would be that Christmas should be within your means. Okay? Should be within your means. And if you have, and you know that there is someone who doesn't have, then this is the time to share with them if you're Christian.
So you make it memorable for
Yes, them. You make it memorable. The most memorable experiences I have growing up in my village, where you grew up from, is they are centered around Christmas.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Maureen, Banji earlier had mentioned something about people coming, and if there's a big fat pig and a big fat goat which have been fattened along the way, isn't that just simply sharing? Because even as a neighbor, I know this is going to happen.
It is, and I would like to share my submission, because I've realized almost everyone here has forgotten the genesis for which we actually celebrate Christmas. It's very unfortunate that Chris is not here. He would give us that 120 perspective of Christianity and religion.
It's fortunate that
Which are
he's
the
not here.
sole foundations for which Christmas was actually created. Christmas in the Western countries is also celebrated as Thanksgiving. Now, Thanksgiving cannot exist without you actually rewarding or giving, because you have been blessed abundantly in so many other ways. So when you call people to your home and say we are celebrating, and this day we are dubbing it a Thanksgiving, it's because you have so much to be grateful for. So much to be grateful for life, for your children's well-being, for your successes, for overcoming failure, for rising above an accident, for each and everything that you have risen above. You're giving thanks. Now, when we do things like that, in the biblical days and times, they would sacrifice a lamb, you know, a sheep, a goat, what? Blood is shed, meat is cut, a fire is burnt. You know, people come together. But Christmas is to ensure that we remember the life of Christ. It is actually Jesus' birthday. Like how you celebrate your birthday every once in a year, we celebrate the birth of Christ.
So how does it
Who
mean we've lost the meaning?
symbolizes life and the sacrifice of God for his deep love for us, that he comes to redeem us,
Yeah.
you know. So it is very absurd when people sit here and only talk about the feasting, the giving back, the showing off, and they don't go back to church to say, oh, thank you, Lord, that we are alive, that our sins are forgiven, that you gave your only son. I want to believe celebrating Christmas should start with setting your house right, going to church, you know, celebrating Mass, then coming back home, sharing in the life of Christ, and feasting. But it's not just feasting.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's go back.
Okay, Isaac.
Oh, thank you, Maureen.
Thank you.
You know, you started it so well,
And then-
and down the road we mixed up things.
Lamb.
Thanksgiving, and then
come blame
sacrifice. The word I would have loved is sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
It doesn't matter either you have or you don't have. Because for me, to know that you're giving from the bottom of your heart is to give the little you have. Not to say, oh God, you have blessed me this year. And now I have to give out of, I have to give this penny.
My submission is not just about
Okay,
you.
just hear the man. Let's hear the man.
For me, our love, it's a sacrifice. Even if I don't have, the little I have, I share, I sacrifice. That's the original meaning of Christmas.
Oh, man.
And
Everyone
not
has their own
thanksgiving
perception.
because
Yeah.
you have so much. And then the other thing is, where we go wrong is thinking that yes, it's Christian, but I mean, there are those people that no longer believe in the church. But they are Christian because the church sometimes.
Yes,
sorry.
for type.
Not type, but
Really, that's not
the meaning of the church sometimes these days has been eroded. So I don't have to actually even say I will go to church, but what's my morality like in community? Am I doing good? Am I doing the best that I could do that I would expect other people to do onto me? Than just saying that, oh, Christmas, out of all those days, that's the only day that some people go to church. That's wrong.
Yeah, okay, I'll tell you, I agree with you 100%, and I actually like the direction it, because you don't have, giving is about what you have. There's no, because you see, also the term of what is a lot and what is little varies with different. Someone might have a million shillings and they're like, I'm doing badly. Yeah. Another person has 10,000 shillings and is like, whoa, this year. So a blessing is a blessing regardless of what you have, and ideally you should share. However, when it comes to the issue, it goes back to what you're saying. There's nothing wrong with feasting during Christmas. It's a celebration. And even if we may go to the biblical times, people used to celebrate with feasts. So there's nothing, and that's why we're also going to have our feasts. Yeah. And otherwise, those who are saying you should not, I don't see you eating. Yes. But we have to stop being selfish. Yes. And we need to learn to plan. I agree. I rarely agree with you, but I agree with you that we need to plan. Yes. Hey. Because
you see that all the time. And you always agree. Listen,
no, but
he says that and agrees with me.
When we see Maureen, we're like, no, I agree a lot with that.
Fantastic submission. Fantastic submission.
He's a gentleman.
But you see, Stefan has raised something very important. Planning. It's generally, it happens, doesn't matter whether it's, and I dare say it's a black people problem. We're just not good at planning. Yet we know this thing is going to happen. I mean, the man was expecting a child and failed to plan for the child. Okay. Yes, it had 9 months to come. Okay. So I mean, this we need to start planning. You have said it, Ernest. Your family like fish, so you know. Okay. You know roughly how many fish they expect. Why don't we just plan for it?
Can I interject? Okay, listen. Mine is very simple. And I remember the other day I was arguing with someone and saying that, you know, at least if we could embrace, Christmas is a borrowed holiday. If we could embrace, holidays like Thanksgiving, it has more meaning to it has more meaning to it, because, like she said, Christmas right now has been over commercialized. Let me give you an example. I'll give you an example of something that I remember of Christmas. There was a time my dad was somewhere out of the country. My dad was a soldier, somewhere in Djibouti somewhere, and my mom was pregnant, and she had miscarried at that time, and she was in hospital. At that time, I did not know it was a miscarriage. And I remember during that time, the kids are showing you presents that their parents had bought for them, shoes, clothes, and we were waiting for Christmas, but both our parents were in different places. Yeah. My mom was in hospital, my dad was out of the country. We're in this space where our neighbors are the ones who are taking care of us. And I remember on Christmas Eve, and that's why I insist that Christmas is all about sharing. We need to emphasize that Christmas is all about the life of Christ, and Christ embodies sharing. My mom, in a striped hospital clothing, came home. She had bought us second-hand clothes from a place called Gikomba. Gikomba is like a Owino market. And I remember at around 11 o'clock, she blacked out again and they had to rush her back to hospital. That is Christmas. That was that was sacrifice. Christmas should not be about the amount of money and overspending, and like my dear friend is saying, it's all about sharing and sacrifice. For example, on a daily basis, you go to work, do something different. Pay for everyone in the taxi.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Do something extraordinary.
Let me remind you about something most places are doing now. They have this thing called Secret Santa. And it's literally there to just spread that sharing love. Because some people get presents, some people don't. So the HR is like, you know what, to make sure everyone gets a present, let us do a Secret Santa phenomenon. I've seen it happening. So the first workplace I worked from, that happened, like people were actually excited for Christmas. Because everyone has this thing of, I'm going to get a present. Whether you had money or not, you what you bought, someone will also take. Well, you bought a bracelet, you might end up getting a watch.
So, two things. One, I happen to have worked in one of the companies where really Christmas was celebrated, because one was that on Christmas you would not get your December salary before Christmas. You would actually get it after Christmas. But on 15th, you'd be given what is called the 13th check. Equivalent to your salary, you get it on 15th, you go and blow it up for Christmas. When you come back around 29th, 30th.
Which company is this, Panang?
You are paid. I will not mention. You are paid your salary. And then, this was a company where they would go to either these big chain supermarkets and buy gifts, sugar, soap, cooking oil, those things that you use. And so when you come, you pick a box, and when you reach home, you find 3 kilos of sugar, 2 bars of soap, 5 liters of cooking oil, and then Christmas like, wow. And some of us who come from up-country places, these are some of the gifts also carried with the steam to take to and distribute. That's one thing. Second thing I need us to also understand about Christmas is that as Isaac is saying that Christmas, the meaning is changing, then for us who believe in Christ, we think that really Christmas is about Christ. If you are changing and celebrating something else, that is not Christmas. Christmas is centered around Christ. Now, the centering around Christ means that...
And you thought Chris was not here?
Means that, for instance, if you are Catholic like me and my neighbor here,
and your neighbor on the left,
your celebration of Christmas will have to have going to church, celebrating Mass. Okay? It has to be there. It's part of the planning. However, because we live in different contexts, you find that the kind of celebration we attach around Christmas is really kind of different. Now, let me share with you where I come from. I come from Kasese, for instance, and Christmas is the only day where housewives are allowed to come back home anytime they wish.
You get.
Yes, yes. Seriously.
It's like free pass.
It is free pass because what happens during Christmas is that those days, and in many villages, there are no like happening places like you talk of bars and clubs. So what happens is that the village comes together, they hire an entertainment system, and the whole village comes there to meet. So all the wives, all the daughters and sons of the village collect that place. So this is the only day that these women are allowed to come home late. After their husbands, if their husbands have taken too much liquor and wasted, they come and sleep. They will not raise questions, why did you come late? So when you say then such people should not celebrate, however little they have, you are removing happiness. Because people,
For the housewife.
people,
For the one day.
people wait for Christmas. When this Christmas passes and they have not enjoyed it, they say, I am waiting for next Christmas. I will celebrate. So
But Banji,
it is a
All right, so I'll tell you what. Banji's raised a phenomenal point. I think some of us are planning to go to Kasese over Christmas because that time we no, guys, we reached a point where we also need to start enjoying our Christmas dinner that is hot and ready, waiting for us. Courtesy of Uganda Wildlife Education Center. Merry Christmas.
Merry
Christmas. Isaac, your parting shot.
Wow.
My parting shot.
Time really does fly.
Christmas. I think it's a time for me that I need to do the best to reward my parents and remind them of how they used to take care of me, but also make an impression for my kids because they're scoping for my parents how they used to treat me for Christmas. And if I can make a difference in other people's life, it's a sacrifice that even if I don't get so much for myself, I can do that for those people that matter in my life.
Great stuff.
Christmas.
Faisal. Mine is, it's really a big day, celebrated everywhere, literally. And I mean, the fact that you know everyone is supposed to be celebrating Christmas and you have something, yeah? Ideally, you have that human element of if you really have something, you also celebrate with some other people. Don't conserve that day of the year just to cater for yourself when you can actually cater for someone else who's going to feel bad. There've been stories of people who actually commit suicide on Christmas. Why? Because unless their family failed to come and show up. Yeah, there've been cases of people committing suicide in prison. This is why actually during Christmas some prisons allow visitations. People come, they visit, whether you're on death row, you're solitude and all that, they come and visit because they know what the day means. But also if you really have nothing, don't feel bad for not celebrating Christmas. Don't beat yourself up about it or, oh, it's only me, let me wait for next Christmas. No. At the end of the day, it's just a day. It has 24 hours.
All right. Cool. Great stuff. Father Christmas, you're dressed in red.
yeah.
Yeah.
To you. Listen, we should get into the culture of planning.
Amen.
We should get in the culture of planning. You know, they keep referring to things as an African thing, but this is how we do it. If something is wrong, you can change how you do things. If you want your Christmas to be in a certain way, you can plan. Planning is not saving 3/4 of your money. You can save even like a 10,000, 20,000, put it somewhere. You know, and the reality is that we have January. Where I come from, we refer to it as January. January meaning like it's a time where people are really broke. The reality is that if you spend what you do not have, you will suffer during January. But the true essence of Christmas, and I think people have forgotten, the true essence of Christmas is mimicking the life of Christ. Christ was someone who was giving, sharing. He gave the little that he had. So if you're not doing something in a certain way, Christmas is a time to reach out. That person you pass on a daily basis can be your neighbor. you know your neighbor is going through some tough time, save, you know, get in your pocket, and that feeling, it's a good feeling. I remember the other day.
Okay, before you get to that, we were going to have to.
I was giving something deep, banana. That was deep.
But I will definitely sit in the taxi that you're in on Christmas Day. You've got.
I will be in a plane, banana. Taxi.
Yeah, and it's your parting shot.
I want to make my parting shot with a demonstration. I see a piece of wood here that's easy to throw into the fire, and if you get little from what you have, and if you want that fire to burn, you have to keep feeding it with the wood. And even for the Christmas spirit, you get from the little you have and offer it to someone who doesn't have as much. And if you do that, then the Christmas spirit is burning alive. Everyone gets to enjoy it. We always want to be dressed smart for Christmas, but I think in relation to the reconciling Christmas with the life of Christ itself, just as we appear to be smart on the outside, we should make sure that we are smart on the inside as well, as we make sure that we are feeding ourselves with the best food we have had around all year. Even when you go to church, we should make sure that we are feeding our souls with the food that's coming from the preachers, whichever person God is using to deliver that message to us. It shouldn't just be about having fun. It shouldn't be just about memorizing that day for the rest of the year, but it should enrich our spiritual lives in one or another. But above all, do not go beyond your means in the name of impressing anyone, in the name of making the day seem more than what it is.
All right, great stuff. Wow. I'll be.
Yes.
Yes, you're parting shot.
All right.
Everybody's been on your case today.
Yes. One, I'm part of Christ the King Church Choir. So how do we celebrate Christmas? We give carols, we give back music. You know how long we prepare? The music we prepare for almost a year. So that's how long we prepare. We plan for Christmas, for one day performance for a year. So you imagine that's a feast of music. That's one way. And that's one creative way of spending Christmas. What else can I say? You see, it is relative, as my parting shot, it's relative how you show love. Love is very relative. You can sacrifice, you can share, you can enjoy yourself, you can feast, very relative. So I think we shouldn't stop people out there, we shouldn't stop them from expressing love the way they think they should express it.
But love is Christ.
Right. Yes, you think about it the way you want, because a Muslim will not see love as Christ. A Muslim will see it differently.
My Muslim don't celebrate Christ.
Okay, it's his parting shot.
Right. So this is the thing. As a Christian, yes, we have been taught how to love, but as a community, first as Africans especially, as a community, how do you love? So that's very important. Let's not stop people showing their way of love. And lastly, be creative. Be very creative. Because trust me, if you go to the village and you do not expect people not to come knocking on your door, then you've gone to the wrong place.
All right.
If you want to do that, stay in your room.
Great stuff. Manji, your parting shot.
You've been floating the argument that we should start planning for Christmas. Where you grew up from, I have told you to start in May to plan for, because immediately after Easter, the next plan will be for Christmas. After Christmas, we plan for Easter. So we have always traditionally planned for Christmas, and personally I have continued the tradition. The planning now might be different. Okay, the planning I may not necessarily save in January and February, but I might be able to say that my earnings for December will help me to enjoy Christmas. So we need to be able to, in our own means, to have resources to enjoy Christmas in our own means. Okay, I would really seriously discourage someone borrowing to spend for Christmas. In my language, there are two sayings. One, that you cannot, actually it is one saying, you can't borrow. You can't go to a neighbor to borrow food to eat for Christmas, or to borrow clothes for a newly born baby. Why? These are predictable events. You know that after 12 months, there will be Christmas. You know that if your woman says she's pregnant, after 9 months, she will be yes. These are things. And this is not a personal attack. These are things you don't borrow for. Okay? And I know my friend there was still developing his argument when you interrupted. These are things you don't borrow for. However, there are people out there who borrow. But I think if you are borrowing, then you are celebrating Christmas the wrong way. Because it is a fixed event, we need to plan. But most importantly, if you're a Christian, you are planning for Christmas has to involve God, has to involve Christ. Because that's why it is called Christmas.
Yeah.
Christ. Can you hear that?
Yes,
Christmas.
Okay, great stuff. Maureen, your parting shots as we wind down.
Well, first of all, it is such a shame that we're just a couple of weeks to Christmas and everyone is preaching plan for your Christmas. So for those of you who started planning early, like Banji here, you've had 10 months to plan and you have a couple of more weeks to go. When Christmas comes, go big. Go all out, throw a feast, invite me if you can. I'll be very happy to come. Those of you who are just going to begin to plan for your Christmas because you only first heard it on this show, NTV Men, from all these amazing men, be humble. Come Christmas, spend within your means. Don't go overboard because trust me, you cannot do so much if you're only starting today. Other than that, have a very Merry Christmas.
And that's going to Kasese.
Great stuff. You will have.
Why do you want to come to Kasese?
This guy is we didn't know you will have from the men. We just want to wish you a Merry Christmas, and mine is very simple. Plan, plan, plan. There's nothing wrong with having a Christmas without a grand feast. It is very, very fine. But also make sure you touch somebody's life positively, because that's what it's about. Talk to people, help people. Pay for people in the taxi. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Because all those things that you do will come back to you tenfold. So with that, all I can say is Merry Christmas.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
The bus is over.